Hello again everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Derailious, and with the most recent city project, the server has been thrown into a bit of a frenzy as to whether this update is going to be a fishing update or the foraging update, as many have suspected. Now there is a major debate about the topic, and I, being an idiot, want to throw my hat into the ring and talk about what I personally believe. Now keep in mind, everything I say in this video should be taken with a grain of salt, but I do think I have some evidence, but I don't have anything concrete, and I want to come out and say that first. I'm not going to finish this video and be like 100% chance of XYZ thing happening. I'm just going to go over what I personally believe and let you draw your own conclusions. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Starting off in this video, I wanted to go over to the fishing outpost so we can read specifically what the city project says. So clicking on it, we can read, help build a fishing outpost in the hub, complete with a ship that you can use to reach a new island. Now I think this wording is pretty interesting. The fishing outpost is going to be in a hub, but the new island may not be connected with the fishing outpost. Now why is this notable? Because it automatically says that it's not a guarantee that the island is fishing related. While yes, it is going to be near the fishermen, I don't think you can say with 100% certainty that that is going to be the case. The other major difference is that we're going to be accessing the new island with a ship, a very unique method of travel. To get to pretty much every other major island in Skyblock, you have to use the jump pads. Now why would we need a ship to get to whatever island we were going to? Well, the first thought in my mind is, well, maybe the island is so large that you can't easily display it within the hub, and maybe they don't want to, which I think is pretty interesting, and lends credit to the idea that maybe this is such a major update that it has to be totally separate. Keep in mind, if Skyblock is in 1.8, and this update, the foraging update, is in 1.20, you won't be able to show it in the hub, which means you'll need something like a ship to have it separated from the main game. I think this lends considerable evidence to the idea that this may in fact be the foraging update. However, there is something I want to bring up here. They use the terminology of new island. Galatea is not in fact a singular island. It is an archipelago. It has been stated as such multiple times, and it doesn't really make sense for them to change the wording unless, well, maybe they want to hide it. Another thing I wanted to bring up here is that there hasn't been a major marketing push for Galatea or the foraging update, and that is a big issue and a big thing that makes me personally believe it's more likely to be a fishing update. They haven't dropped any information about it. Maybe they will after the outpost is done in terms of it being fully funded, but I do think it's pretty notable. We also haven't gotten any alpha network or anything like that for the foraging update, although personally I wouldn't be that shocked if we didn't get one at all. Heading outside and heading over to the wilderness, we'll see some more evidence that points in the direction of a fishing update. And I think the most clear-cut thing here is worker Emma, and her stating that this island will be related to the fishermen somehow. I mean, obviously she's looking at the guy, she's talking about the plans sent by the fishermen. I think it would be a little weird if Galatea, the foraging archipelago, was related to the fishermen. And that's a fair point. However, it also states new island, new people, and new creatures, and we've gotten a set of creatures from Galatea, and as you can see, they are all fish related. So maybe there is some overlap there. It's entirely possible that this is in fact a fishing update. It's just that Galatea is so massive that it includes content from not just fishing, but foraging and hunting as well. However, to go in the other direction, I think the admins would have been fairly likely to do something like an alpha test or a marketing push in advance of a major release like Galatea, because it's just that important to the game. The fact that this is just in-game as a city project doesn't really give me the most confidence. As well, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for this part of the island to have the ship. Wouldn't it be more likely to be on the side of the island with the park and with the other areas? I think that's a decent possibility, although you could make another counter argument. The island isn't just a foraging island. It wouldn't be near those islands, because it also includes hunting as a bare minimum, and hunting would be in its own entire section over here in the hub. At this point, we're getting into much more minor semantical differences, but you can understand why such a debate exists in the first place. And I think another major thing here is that so many people have wanted the foraging update for so long, they can't even imagine a world in which it exists. So when we get something like this, with some clues that maybe this is in fact the foraging update, people are very rightfully incredibly skeptical. I'll be the first person to admit that I have been coping about the foraging update for years now. However, we see something like this, a fishing outpost project, that has some theoretical possibility to turn into the foraging update, and the community has gone kind of wild. Personally, I believe it's much more likely that this is some sort of early game or mid-game fishing content to add some credit to fishing as they eventually add the Glaciite Tunnels update, which is going to add more, Glaciite Lake stuff, and that's going to be fishing related. But it also could be the moment that we get the biggest update that Hypixel Skyblock has ever received. So I think, at the bare minimum, whether you think this is going to be a foraging update, whether you think this is going to be Galatea, or you think this is going to be another fishing island, I really hope you log on and get these components fulfilled. Doing these is incredibly important so that we figure out quicker what this update actually ends up being. And I think, from a marketing perspective, having it be up in the air is very interesting. This is the closest we've gotten to major content, a new island in years. Someone said to me in the comments of the last video that the last new island, completely new, that we have received was Jerry's Workshop. The Rift is just a remake of the hub, and every other island since then has been either a remake or a remaster, which I think is very interesting. This is something new and something potentially exciting. Something else I wanted to briefly bring up that brings credit to the idea that this is not in fact Galatea but another fishing island is that the admins are always working on secret projects, additional things not talked about in a major forum post or within the recaps. And this could very well be that thing. I mean, even the mountaintop wasn't really discussed before it would release. Wouldn't that make a lot of sense if we got another thing like that to hold us over before the foraging update eventually drops? I don't know. I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. Personally, I'm just very excited to see where this goes, whether it be the foraging update or a fishing update. I will be excited regardless. Once again, leave your thoughts. I'm not trying to convince anyone of any particular belief within this video, but I hope with this video you can see why a certain side believes the things that they do. Yes, at face value, many of the things point in the direction of fishing, but if you look a little deeper, some of the deeper between the lines sort of things do show an idea that maybe this is in fact the foraging update. Once again, would love to hear what you guys think. Please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Leave a comment if you think I'm coping or crazy or out of my mind. I would love to read them. Use code RAIL on the Hypixel store for 5% off your order. And look to the future, fellas. I'll see you then. Alright guys, I'm back with another piece of new evidence that I found, and I'm not going crazy. Now this is something that I wanted to bring up. Pressure system. While we never worked on the Abyss Island, meaning at the time of middle of last year, pretty much, that they haven't done any work, by the way, on anything fishing related, we still decided to make a pressure system and introduce it on Galatea. Pressure will simply make your respiration bubbles go down faster the deeper you dive into the waters. Running out of air while in deep waters will deal massive damage, so make sure you stack up extra respiration and pressure resistance before you adventure yourself in the deeper rooms of the lake. Question to all of you, why would they add this and not introduce it on the apparently brand new fishing island that they're going to release? Now, I'm not saying this is a guarantee that it's going to be Galatea or whatever it's called, but guys, I think this is pretty clear cut that maybe this argument is a little deeper than, oh, it says fishing and we're going to be talking to the fishermen and that means it has to be a fishing update. I think it goes deeper than that. I think there's a lot here that you can look at and you can draw your own conclusions, and maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's just been years of cope and I'm going to get tons of comments like Derailious, you've lost your mind. And then in 2 weeks when this drops and it's a nothing burger, everyone's going to be like, we were so right, Derailious, you're such an idiot. But guys, I'm not crazy. This is real. I think this is happening. Anyway, that's about all from me. See you next time.